There is a pattern deeper than language, older than time, a divine rhythm etched into your DNA, your breath, and the bones of the universe. You've felt it, the misalignment, the burnout, the loops you can't escape. That's not failure, that's the signal. Because your reality is being shaped by a code, one you were never taught to see. Not 5, not 7, not 12, 4. Look around you, there are 4 seasons, 4 directions, 4 states of consciousness, 4 forces of nature, 4 forces, 4 bodies, 4 gates, and until you align with them, time will slip, energy will scatter, and your future will always feel one step out of reach. But the moment you activate this code, you stop obeying reality and start reprogramming it. This isn't a video. This is the moment your entire frequency shifts. You've been seeing this your whole life, but no one told you what you were looking at. You thought the seasons were just changes in weather, just the earth cycling through patterns like clockwork. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. But you missed it. The earth wasn't just doing her thing. She was showing you yourself. Spring is the energy of blooming. The feeling when an idea finally clicks, when life stirs after you thought it was over. That moment when you open the window after months of heaviness and your lungs say, yes. Summer is your expansion. That time when everything's flowing, when you're in your groove, when the days feel endless, and so does your energy. You know that version of you that laughs more, that says yes to things? That's summer energy. It's not just seasonal, it's spiritual. Autumn is the letting go, the long exhale. That moment when something ends and you don't fight it. When the friendship fades, or the dream changes and for once, you don't try to hold on. You just let it fall. And winter, that's the silence, the healing you can't post about, the kind of stillness that feels like nothing's happening, but everything is shifting under the surface. That time when you stop showing up for the world and start showing up for your own soul. You've lived all 4 of those, over and over. But no one told you it was sacred, that it was coded. And then, there are the directions. North, south, east, west. You ever wonder why something shifts when you stand facing the ocean at sunrise? That's east, the direction of beginnings, of breath, of inspiration. It's why we say, a new day is dawning. It's not poetry, it's physics. Ever walked outside at noon and felt this pulse to do something? To move, to act, to start? That's south. Action. Momentum. Fire. It's not just the sun. It's direction feeding your frequency. You ever watched the sunset and felt sadness you couldn't explain? Like something in you was also setting. That's west. Release. Reflection. Closure and north, the one you barely face. That's where stillness lives. Wisdom. Silence. It's the part of you that speaks last but sees the most. And yeah, it feels cold sometimes, because truth usually does. You think you're just walking around, but you're standing in a directional current every single day. Your body is a compass, but you were never taught how to listen to it. Then look at your life timeline. Childhood, youth, adulthood, old age. Seems simple, right? But it's not linear. You've seen kids carry grief in their eyes that belongs to ancestors they've never met. That's ancient wisdom showing up early. You've seen elders in their 70s dancing like teenagers with something still burning in them. That's youth energy showing up late. The stages aren't fixed, they spiral. They revisit you. You can be in spring energy at 80. You can be in winter at 25. That's the code. It doesn't box you in. It reveals where you really are. And then there's the earth, the element that holds it all together. Earth is structure, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't brag, doesn't beg, just is. It's the reason your body has bones and not just tissue. It's the reason gravity keeps you from floating into your own head. Earth is the thing that says, slow down, breathe, be here. You've felt it. Ever been so overwhelmed that your mind is spinning, you're not even in your body anymore? And then you step outside, barefoot, and boom, Peace, it's not magic. It's earth energy, pulling your spirit back down into your spine, touching trees, sitting on rocks, putting your hands in soil. That's not hippie stuff. That's recalibration. Earth brings your mind back online. It holds the fire so you don't burn out. It shapes the water so you don't drown in emotion. It grounds the air so your thoughts don't carry you away. And here's the kicker. When life feels chaotic, scattered, misaligned, it's not because the world's broken. It's because you're operating from one element and starving the rest. You're all air, thinking, planning, dreaming, but no earth, no grounding. You're all fire, pushing, hustling, doing, but no water, no softness, no rest. You're all earth, stable, loyal, stuck, but no air, no movement, no possibility. You've been living off one channel of your soul and wondering why the signal's glitching. But when you bring them all back online, when fire, earth, air, and water start speaking to each other again, everything clicks. Your life stops being a series of reactions. It starts moving with rhythm, with intelligence. You stop waiting for balance, you become it. And then there's water. You've felt it every time your chest swells with feeling, and you can't explain why. Water is emotion, memory, intuition. It moves through you in ways you don't even notice. Your blood, your lymph, your tears. It's the current beneath your awareness, the part of you that knows without needing to think. Water teaches you how to move without forcing, how to yield without breaking, how to feel everything without letting it drown you. And here's what no one tells you. Water remembers. It doesn't just pass through, it records everything. Frequency, sound, energy, intention. Water holds vibration like a song on repeat. They've done studies, real science. When you speak love into water, when you sing to it, bless it. Speak softly, the molecules shift. The crystals form with symmetry, with beauty. But when you speak hatred, chaos. The structure breaks down. Now remember, your body is over 70% water. You don't just influence your biology. You're speaking directly into it. Every word, every thought, every emotion, it's shaping your cells, rewriting your system. Water doesn't just feel emotion, it becomes it. That heaviness in your chest when grief hits, that's water. That wave of connection that rushes in during intimacy, water. That intuitive hit deep in your gut, that turns out to be right. That's water too. It's the element of flow, of empathy, of deep, ancient knowing. But water doesn't stand alone. On the other end of the spectrum is fire. Fire is your will, your power to act, your sacred yes that doesn't care who says no. It's the engine of change, the part of you that refuses to stay small, the part that moves, speaks, creates, declares. You ever notice how your body heats up when you're passionate, when you're furious, when inspiration hits so hard you can't sit still? That's fire. You feel it in your digestion, your metabolism, your ambition. That drive, that hunger, that sudden push to do the thing, that's fire coming online. Even your thoughts spark like flames, neurons firing, literal electricity in your brain. You don't just think, you burn through ideas. But here's the thing, unfocused fire scorches. When it's scattered, it burns out. When it's suppressed, it explodes. But when it's harnessed, with presence, with clarity, fire doesn't destroy, it refines. It melts the lies off you. It forges the real you beneath the layers. It gives you the courage to walk through resistance and come out cleaner, clearer, sharper. Fire is what transforms desire into reality. You feel the impulse, you take the breath, you move. That's how creation begins. So when your life feels stuck, when you're numb, drained, lost in thought with no action, it's usually because your fire's gone cold. And when you're overwhelmed, drowning in feelings you can't contain, that's water without form. But when you bring both into balance, when water flows and fire focuses, you don't just feel alive, you become aligned. Emotions guide you, desire fuels you, intuition speaks, and your actions finally match the truth of your spirit. You stop surviving your own elements, and you start living through them. And then there's air, the one we forget, the one we take for granted until we can't. Air is breath, it's mind, it's movement. It's the thing that carries ideas from thought to word, from word to world. It whispers intuition when you're still enough to listen. It's the link between what you feel and what you say, between what you know and what you dare to speak. Air is the messenger of spirit. It doesn't shout, it doesn't push. It moves in silence, in inspiration, in the spark behind a word that hits like lightning. It's the inhale of life, the exhale of surrender, the space between action and reaction. Without air, nothing moves, nothing shifts, nothing transforms. And here's what they won't tell you. Breath isn't just biology, it's alchemy. You can shift your entire emotional state in less than 3 minutes, just by breathing differently. Seriously. Anxiety, gone. Clarity floods in. With each breath, your nervous system retunes. Your mind clears. Your frequency rises. You go from survival mode to something that actually feels like you again. And it's not some new discovery, it's ancient. In Hebrew, the word for spirit, ruach, means breath. In Sanskrit, prana is breath, but also life force. They're the same word for a reason. Breath is spirit, and air, it's the delivery system. Air reminds you, whatever you breathe in, you become. That's not metaphor, that's reality. But here's what no one teaches you. These 4 elements, fire, earth, water, air, they're not forces floating around in the ether. They're not out there. They're you. They move through you. They express as you. They're not concepts. They're your architecture. And if your life feels out of balance, it's not bad luck. It's not sabotage. It's simple. You're leaning too hard into one and starving the others. Too much fire and you burn out. Too much earth and you get stuck. Too much water and you drown. Too much air and you disconnect. But when you realign, when all 4 find their rhythm again, everything changes. You stop reacting to life like it's happening at you, and you start directing it, composing it. You stop being the passenger. You become the cycle itself, not controlling the storm, being the weather. Because this 4-fold pattern isn't passive. It's not just there for your observation. It's a technology, a frequency lock. And once you dial it in, your reality has no choice but to shift. Because the code doesn't stop at mysticism. It runs straight through science. Let's break the illusion right now. Spirituality and science were never at war. They were speaking different dialects of the same truth. The mystics felt the code. The scientists measured it. And if you look closely, you'll see they're both pointing at the same structure. 4. Start with matter. The very thing your body, your house, your planet is made of. You learned it in school. Solid, liquid, gas, plasma. But did you ever ask why 4? Why not 3 or 5? Because these aren't just physical states. They're stages of transformation. They match your own evolution. You're grounding, you're flowing, you're rising, you're expanding. Then look even deeper, beneath atoms, into the fabric of the universe itself. There are 4 fundamental forces that shape everything that moves. Gravity, which anchors you. Electromagnetism, which connects and attracts. The strong force, which binds matter together. The weak force, which allows change, decay, rebirth. Even the invisible is structured in 4. They told you DNA was fixed. A code written at birth, sealed by blood, immune to change. But that's not the truth. That's not even science anymore. Because your DNA isn't just a string of molecules, it's a living manuscript of you. Part biology, part memory, part light. It's not just inside you, it's listening to you. And that changes everything. Let's go deeper. DNA is not just the code that builds your body, it's a transmitter and receiver. A spiritual antenna, constantly communicating with a field beyond time and space. What mystics called the Akashic field, the universal memory bank of all that was, is, and ever could be. And your DNA? It's not a hard drive. It's a conversation. Your beliefs, your emotions, your focus, your fear, your love, your truth. These are not just internal experiences. They are instructions. They tell your DNA how to behave, what to activate, what to silence, what to express, what to hide. Science calls this epigenetics, the process by which your environment, your choices, and your inner state literally rewrite how your genes function. Take two people with the exact same gene for anxiety. One grows up in chaos, constant stress, no safety, always on edge. The gene activates. Their nervous system stays in fight or flight. Their body learns to survive, not thrive. The other grows up with grounding, rhythm, and emotional safety. Same gene, but it stays silent. Their body learns to regulate, to trust, to expand. The difference isn't in their DNA, it's in the signals their life sends to it. This means your inner and outer environments, your food, your breath, your relationships, your thoughts, are not just background noise. They are messages to your genes. You are writing to yourself every single day. But mystics and ancients have always known it. Your thoughts shape your form. Your emotions shape your evolution. Your soul shapes your script. This is why trauma can pass through generations. Not just as behavior, but as biology. And this is why healing one belief, one pattern, one emotional wound can change your lineage forward and backward in time. Your body is not a machine. Your mind is not a switch. And your consciousness? It is not binary, not on or off, not awake or asleep. A wave, a breath, a spiral that loops through every layer of your being. Just like your heart doesn't beat once and stop. Just like your breath doesn't come and go only once. Your awareness rises and falls, contracts and expands, speaks, then listens. It is a living rhythm. You see it in your brainwaves, beta, alpha, theta, delta, waking, resting, dreaming, deep repair. Your mind cycles through all four every single day, and not just while sleeping. Each one tunes you into a different state of knowing. You see it in your nervous system, sympathetic, then parasympathetic. Alertness and action, followed by calm and restoration, tension and release, fight and surrender. Your system pulses like a tide, not a light switch. Even your breath moves in four parts. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Every breath is a cycle of awakening, holding, releasing, and resting. You've felt this rhythm in your moods, in your creative cycles, in your energy across the month. There are days you're on fire, making, doing, speaking, and others where your body begs for stillness, silence, reflection. This isn't laziness. This isn't inconsistency. This is rhythm. Even in nature, consciousness moves in patterns. Plants open to the light, then fold into the dark. Tides rise and fall with the moon. Birds migrate. Animals hibernate in the winter. Even the sun breathes, rising and setting in a 24-hour rhythm. So why would we believe that our awareness, the most sacred technology we carry, operates like a flat line? It doesn't. It never has. You are not linear. You are cyclical. You are rhythmic. You are cosmic tempo wrapped in skin. And this rhythm reveals itself most clearly through the moon in 4 phases. Not just a calendar in the sky, but a mirror of your inner states. Now shift inward, into your brain. Your brainwaves aren't static, they fluctuate, and they determine what kind of reality you experience. Beta, you're alert, logical, focused. This is where most people live. Stressed, reactive, locked in survival mode. Alpha, you slow down. Imagination opens. Emotions become magnetic. time starts to stretch. Theta, you enter the subconscious, you heal, you visualize, you connect with realms beyond logic. Delta, deep sleep but deeper awareness, spiritual contact, the field where miracles take shape before you even wake. Each state is a door, and the password is frequency. When you're stuck in beta, the world feels hard, cold, unforgiving. But when you learn to access alpha and theta on command, you don't chase your desires. They start chasing you. And this is why ancient civilizations didn't just build monuments. They built portals, temples, pyramids, stone circles, aligned to fours, 4 directions, 4 seasons, 4 gates. They weren't decorating the earth. They were syncing it with the mind. They understood something we've forgotten. When your consciousness matches the universe's pattern, you stop reacting to life and start co-creating it. But there's another layer most people miss. Because this 4-fold rhythm isn't just outside of you or inside your thoughts. It's also layered into your very being. The question is, how many pieces of you are actually awake? The 4 energy bodies you inhabit. Here's the real reason manifestation feels hit or miss for most people. They're trying to create from a single layer of themselves, while the other 3 are asleep, wounded, or ignored. You are not just a body. You are not just a mind. You are not just a soul. You are a 4-part instrument, a layered field of energy, memory, emotion, and intention. And until those 4 come into harmony, reality won't respond the way you want it to. Let's break it down. The physical body, Earth, is your structure, your bones, your boundaries. It holds the habits and routines that keep you grounded or stuck. Neglect this layer, and you'll feel unstable, disconnected, floating through life with no real traction. The emotional body, water moves deeper. This is your memory field, your vibration. Every unresolved feeling gets stored here. And because water remembers, it replays those frequencies until you clear them. This is where people unknowingly manifest the same kind of relationships, the same kind of pain over and over. The mental body. Fire is your power source. This is where belief lives, vision, willpower. It's the stories you tell yourself, the voice in your head that says, I can't, or I deserve more. But fire doesn't care what it burns, it just amplifies. The question is, are you fueling it with fear or purpose? The spiritual body. Air is the most subtle, the most potent. It's your link to the unseen. Your intuition, your divine intelligence, that quiet knowing that doesn't shout, but is always right. Most people ignore it. But when you tune in, life starts to speak to you, not just around you. Now here's the key. These 4 aren't meant to work alone. They're meant to sync. When they do, you stop being fragmented. You stop trying to manifest with just thoughts or just rituals or just discipline. You start broadcasting from a unified frequency. And the universe, it responds to coherence, not chaos. But here's the part that turns belief into biology. Because of that sacred pattern, it's not just spiritual theory, it's encoded in your DNA. You've been told DNA is just a biological code, a set of instructions passed down through your bloodline. But that's only half the story. Because DNA isn't static. It doesn't just sit there waiting, it listens, it responds to sound, to thought, to intention. And here's what most people never realize. The structure of your DNA, the double helix, is built on a sacred rhythm of 4 base pairs. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. Now, pause. Look again. The letter A and T, and the letter C and G, 2 pairs, 4 letters, like cardinal directions. Like the 4 elements. This is not random. It's a living mirror of the universal blueprint. What if I told you? Each of these base pairs resonates with an elemental energy. Adenine equals earth, stability, form, the body's foundation. Thymine equals water, memory, emotion, fluidity. Cytosine, fire. Transformation, ignition, will. Guanine equals air. Connection, thought, spirit. So when your emotions shift, when your thoughts elevate, when your environment changes, your DNA adjusts. Not figuratively, literally. This is why affirmations, sound frequencies, breath work, visualization, they work. Because you're not just thinking positive. You're activating a fourfold interface that rewrites the energy you're broadcasting. Your DNA isn't your limit, it's your lever. And when the 4 codes of your DNA resonate with the 4 codes of the cosmos, that's when reality bends. But don't just align the code within. There are 4 portals inside your body, waiting for you to turn them on. You've been told to visualize, to journal, to say the words, and wait for the universe to deliver. But here's the truth they leave out. Manifestation isn't a mental game. It's an energetic broadcast, and there are 4 specific centers in your body designed to transmit it. These aren't just chakras or metaphors. They're real interfaces, each tuned to a different frequency, each with a specific function in the process of creation. Let's start at the foundation, the root, your earth center. This is where you connect to the physical plane, stability, safety, the power to build something real. If this isn't activated, your visions stay as dreams. There's no traction, no structure. You might want, but you don't receive. The root is where energy forms, where vision meets structure. It governs safety, stability, and the power to build. If this center is closed or weak, here's what happens. You dream big, but can't follow through. You feel scattered, ungrounded, like your ideas float above you but never land. You want, but you don't receive. In the real world, it means you procrastinate, avoid money, start things but don't finish. You live in your head and fear the body. Activate this center, and your desires start to gain weight. They move from possibility to preparation. They begin to take shape. Then comes the heart, your water center. This is your emotional field, where your desires become magnetic. The heart doesn't just feel, it signals. It creates coherence in your biofield, sending vibrations into the quantum. Most people feel deeply, but aimlessly. They drown in emotion without direction. But emotion is energy, and energy needs direction to become power. In the real world, you notice that you want love, success, or clarity, but you're emotionally blocked. Number overwhelmed, leaking energy into fear, not into creation. Activate the heart, and you start to attract. Most people feel deeply, but they don't know how to direct that energy. The heart isn't just for love, it's a signal generator. When you feel with clarity, the field listens. Next is the third eye, your fire center. This is the center of vision. It holds your imagination, focus, foresight. It's where thought becomes blueprint. But thought alone isn't power, it's potential. Without fuel from the heart and structure from the root, it's just daydreaming. You have amazing ideas but can't act on them. You overthink, you plan, visualize, get excited, and then stall. Again. Activate this center, and clarity returns. You see where you're going, why it matters, and how to get there. And finally, the crown, your air center, connection to source, to higher intelligence. This is where you receive the idea, the download, the divine architecture. But here's the twist. You can't just stay up here in the sky. Without the other 3, the idea never lands. Now here's the secret you've been sensing all along. When these 4 centers are activated, root, heart, third eye, crown, they form a vertical channel, a direct line between the spiritual and the physical. You stop forcing outcomes, you start transmitting them. And reality? It doesn't just reflect you, it responds to your alignment. Because this isn't about creating from effort. It's about creating from coherence. And once you know how to open those 4 centers, there's only one thing left to align. your relationship with time itself. But even when your energy is clear, even when your heart is open, your vision is sharp, and your body is aligned, there's still one distortion that holds people back. Even the awakened, even the disciplined, even the ones who've done all the right things. It's not mindset. It's not effort. It's not the universe making you wait. It's something deeper, more invisible, more programmed. Your relationship with time. Because if you believe time is linear, if you believe change must take weeks, months, years, if you believe someday is safer than now, then even the clearest signal in the world gets delayed. Not by the universe, but by you. Time is not neutral. It's not a line. It's not a clock. Time is a frequency. And the moment you remember how to work with it, everything accelerates. The body heals faster. Opportunities collapse into the present. Reality bends to meet your pace. Because when you align with time itself, you stop waiting. You start arriving. Time isn't what they told you. It's not a straight line. It's not past, present, future ticking in a neat little row. That's the illusion. The Matrix wants you to see time that way. Because if you think it only moves forward, you'll never realize you can move through it differently. Here's the truth. Time is a frequency. And just like any frequency, it has layers, 4 of them, 4 dimensions, 4 doors. And depending on which one you're living from, your entire reality changes. First, the past, but not the version you remember. It's not memory, it's vibration. A loop you keep sending out until you break it. This is why people repeat patterns, attract the same pain, feel stuck in what was. Because they're still broadcasting the emotional signal of something long gone. Which means, to time, it's still here. Next, the present. But don't confuse that with just now. The present is the throne of power. It's the only moment that actually exists, and the only moment that contains the authority to shift anything. When you're present, truly present, you bend reality. Not with effort, but with presence. Because in presence, your energy becomes clean, sharp, directive, and time listens. Then comes the future. You think it's waiting for you. It's not. It's already formed, in probability. There are infinite versions of you, already in motion, already existing on parallel timelines. And your vibration? It selects which version of that future you walk into. Want to know your future? Look at your dominant frequency. That's your trajectory. And finally, the one most people never touch. Timelessness. The 0 point. The space between seconds. Where past, present, and future dissolve. Where manifestation happens instantly because there's no delay. This is the realm mystics enter during deep meditation, where time collapses into pure awareness. It's where synchronicities are born, where healing becomes immediate, where you stop being in time and start commanding it. Here's the twist that flips the whole system. Most people live in the past. They react in the present. They fear the future. And they never touch timelessness. But once you align these 4 layers, you don't just manage your time. You become multidimensional. You operate from memory when needed. You command your now with clarity. You choose your timeline with intention. And when you need to transcend it all, you access the still point, the field behind the field. This isn't about time management. It's not about schedules, routines, or color-coded calendars. This is time mastery. And the switch that unlocks it all, it isn't found in your planner. It's not hiding in your to-do list. It's in your brain. Let's talk about the command center. Because if your energy is the signal and your DNA is the interface, then your brainwaves are the broadcast tower. They decide which version of reality you can tune into. But right now, yours is likely stuck on one frequency. Overstimulated, reactive, buzzing with distraction. You're in a loop of urgency and noise, and that means you're only accessing a small fraction of your power. But your brain wasn't built to stay in one state. It was built to shift, to expand, to tune into different realities through 4 specific frequencies. Each one is a gateway. Each one unlocks a different dimension of who you are. Beta, the surface. This is your default setting. Waking consciousness, focused, alert, logical. You need it to function, to drive, to solve, to speak, to survive. But stay here too long, and you start running on stress. You become overly analytical, hyper-rational. Your creativity dries up. You're awake, but not aware. Beta is like the first floor of the house. You can live there. But the magic, it's upstairs. Alpha, the doorway. Alpha is the bridge between thought and feeling, the beginning of intuition, the artist's frequency. In Alpha, your mind softens. You slow down. Time stretches. Ideas arrive instead of being chased. You begin to attract, not just act. Alpha is magnetic. It's where inspiration breathes. You've felt it walking in nature, or right before falling asleep. That calm clarity, that gentle hum. Most people touch Alpha by accident, but once you learn to enter it intentionally, you become a tuning fork for insight. THETA, the vision realm. This is the dream frequency, but not just during sleep. Theta is deep imagination. It's where you rewrite beliefs, access suppressed memories, speak directly to your subconscious. This is where real manifestation happens. In Theta, affirmations land. Hypnosis works. Visualization becomes a command, not a wish. Want to reprogram your identity? Want to change a behavior? Want to heal a story? You do it in Theta. Delta, the deep. Delta is where the mind sleeps, but the soul awakens. Here the body repairs itself. Cells regenerate, hormones balance, but something even deeper happens. You connect to the unseen, ancestral wisdom, divine guidance. Downloads that don't come from books, but from beyond. You've woken from a deep sleep with clarity you didn't think your mind could find. That wasn't dreaming. That was Delta consciousness. Delta is the womb of spirit, and most people never touch it while awake. But those who learn to tap into a source intelligence that reshapes everything. Each of these states is not just brain activity. It's a reality filter, and most people live in only one. Imagine trying to play a symphony with just one note. That's what most of us are doing with our minds. But once you learn how to shift between beta, alpha, theta, and delta at will, you stop reacting. You start directing. You don't just experience reality, you compose it. Now here's the shocker. You're cycling through these all the time. But unconsciously, randomly, without control. The real mastery is learning to shift between them on command. Because when you're stuck in beta, life feels dense, hard, and slow. But when you start living from alpha, dipping into theta, receiving from delta, you enter a new dimension of experience. One where reality starts to feel alive and cooperative. And this is why monks meditate, why sages go silent, why prophets retreat to the mountain or the cave. They're not escaping life. They're changing stations. So ask yourself, are you tuned in or just turned on? Because when your brain, body, and energy align, when the signal is clear, you become a living antenna, a receptor for divine data, a projector of a new timeline. And once that happens, there's only one step left: to build the temple inside you and activate it. This is where everything starts to click, because it doesn't matter how much you learn if you're still living fragmented. If your thoughts say one thing, your emotions pull another, your body resists, and your spirit goes unheard, then you're not manifesting. You're short-circuiting your own signal. But there's a solution, and it's ancient. It was never lost, it was just buried beneath noise, doctrine and distraction. The fourfold self, your inner temple, not a building, not a belief system, a structure inside you, made of 4 living forces, each one a corner of your inner reality. And here's what most never realize. Every mystical tradition had a version of this. The Egyptians, the Hindus, the Kabbalists, the early Christians, all different words, same map. The physical self is your earth. It's your anchor, your commitment. The rituals and routines that prove your intention in the material world. Without this, the rest never lands. It stays out there, in the ethers. The emotional self is your water. It's your compass. The field that attracts or repels based on what you really feel. Not what you think you should feel. Most people bypass this layer. But if your heart isn't aligned, the universe won't hear you clearly. The mental self is your fire. It's the sharp edge, the architect. This is where beliefs are built or destroyed, where focus becomes a flame, and that flame either warms you or burns everything down. The spiritual self is your air. It's breath, intuition, the whisper you hear when everything else goes quiet. It's the higher you, guiding, nudging, remembering. When this part goes ignored, you can feel successful and still feel empty. But when all 4 align, you become whole, not perfect, integrated. You stop reacting to life and start transmitting from a place of coherence. And here's the part that flips the entire script. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to synchronize yourself. This inner temple isn't built through hustle. It's activated through awareness, through daily micro-choices that realign the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual into a single force. And once that happens, you don't just feel better. You start to bend the rules of your own reality. Because this isn't self-help. This is spiritual engineering. But don't take my word for it. The blueprint is already encoded in ancient texts, hidden in plain sight. The Bible didn't just tell stories. It preserved the original code. And now, it's time to unlock it. Look, I'm just going to say it straight. Most people still read the Bible like it's some religious rulebook, a list of commandments, some nice moral stories, a little ancient history for flavor. But that's not what it is. That's not what it's ever been. And I'm tired, honestly. Tired of watching brilliant minds skip right past the truth because they're stuck reading it like it's dead text. The Bible isn't just a story, it's a system, a manual for consciousness. And yeah, it's wrapped in symbols and parables, because that's how ancient knowledge survives. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. The whole thing is built around the number 4. Let me show you. Go to the throne of God, the center of divine order. What do you see? 4 beings, not random, not decorative. 4 faces staring out in 4 directions. The lion, the ox, the eagle, the man. These aren't just mystical animals floating around. These are archetypes, forces of nature, energies that exist not just in the heavens, but in you. The lion is fire, will, courage, the part of you that refuses to back down when the world tries to tame you. The ox is earth, strength, sacred duty, the side of you that carries weight quietly without asking for applause. The eagle is air, vision, insight, the part that rises above the chaos, sees patterns, and speaks truth no one else can see. The man is water, emotion, intelligence, the bridge between your heart and your higher self, the part of you that feels everything and still shows up with compassion. These aren't characters. These are functions. They sit at the center of your soul, and when they're out of balance, everything feels off. But when they're aligned, that's when you remember who you are. You become the living temple. And this same pattern shows up again. It's everywhere. Take the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. People think they're just different angles on the life of Jesus, but each one is a gateway. Each one channels a specific energy. Matthew is the lion, the fire, Christ as king. Authority, divine purpose in motion. Mark is the ox, the earth. Christ as servant, humble, grounded, powerful without needing to speak. Luke is the man, the water. Christ as the Son of Man, empathy, feeling, heart-centered action. John is the eagle, the air. Christ as the Word, cosmic, infinite. The divine intelligence behind it all. Put them together, and you don't just get a biography. You get a mirror, a full-spectrum picture of ascended consciousness. Not just what Christ embodied, but what you're meant to activate inside yourself. And it goes deeper. The Garden of Eden? That wasn't just a paradise, that was a diagram. A symbolic layout of how energy flows from source into the world. From that garden, 4 rivers flowed, each one representing a sacred current. Pishon was the river of abundance, creative power, overflow. Gihon carried memory and intuition, the ancient, the unseen, the feminine knowing. Tigris brought clarity in speech, mental precision, the power to name what's real. Euphrates carried grounding and strength, the force that makes the invisible real. These rivers weren't just flowing through land, they're flowing through you, through your energy body, your system. Each one a path to cleanse, to restore, to realign. But here's the part no one wants to touch, the 4 horsemen. People freak out over them. They've been painted as signs of the end, wrath, chaos, apocalypse. But they're not about the world falling apart. They're about you waking up. The white horse is spirit, the divine spark, a revelation that changes everything. The red horse is mind, conflict, thought patterns at war with each other, the battle of truth versus illusion. The black horse is emotion, famine, that numbness, that starvation of joy and love and presence. The pale horse is body, death, but not death as in the end. This is ego death, the death of false identities, the shedding of what no longer fits. These 4 aren't meant to destroy you. They're meant to show you what happens when you ignore the signals. But if you ride with them, if you learn from them, they don't take you down. They break you open. And then there's the name, Yahweh, the Tetragrammaton, the name too holy to say out loud. But here's what most people never hear. It's not a name, it's a formula, a code for creation itself. Yod is fire, the spark, the beginning of intention. He is water, the breath, the unfolding. Vav is air, connection, the bridge between dimensions. And the final, He is earth, the grounding of spirit into matter. This is how God creates. And whether you believe in God or not, this is how you create. Every time you bring an idea into form, you're moving through that same divine pattern. So no, the Bible was never just about laws or ancient myths. It's about you, your design, your energy, your blueprint, the lion, the ox, the eagle, the man, the 4 rivers, the 4 horsemen, the 4 elements, the 4 gospels, the 4 letters of the sacred name. They're all pointing to the same truth. You are not random. You are not lost. You're encoded with a system that's been whispering to you your whole life. All I'm doing is handing you the decoder. What you do with it is up to you. It's not just a word. It never was. It's a sequence, a pattern, the structure of creation itself, broken into 4 parts. Not letters, not sounds, it's vibration, formula, breath. And when it's spoken with awareness, with alignment, it doesn't just refer to God. It becomes the act of creation. You're not just saying a name. You're stepping into the current. You're speaking from the same rhythm that brought light into being. So when people say, speak the name of God with power, they don't mean shout it louder. They mean resonate with it. Feel the pattern, live it, move in sync with it. Because this 4-fold rhythm, it's the frequency the universe actually responds to. That's what makes mountains move. That's what opens doors no logic can explain. This was never about religion. It was always about remembrance. Remember who you are. Remember how this world was made. And when you do, when the four parts of you finally come back into alignment, when your fire, your water, your air, and your earth start moving in harmony again, you stop reacting to the matrix. You start overriding it. Not with effort, with frequency. Because once you remember the pattern, you don't need permission. You just walk as the code. And now, you're ready for the final step. The part where power stops being theory and starts being embodied. Here's the moment where the illusion begins to crack. Reality isn't fixed. It's not solid. It's not even real in the way you've been taught. Reality is a consensual hallucination. This whole reality, it's a collective agreement. Not fact, not law, agreement, held together by repetition, belief, and attention. People buy into it, day after day, and that's what makes it feel real. But here's the secret. Once you stop agreeing with it, it starts to break down. The cracks show, the code glitches, and that's when you can finally step out. But to really break free, you need 4 keys, not ideas, not theories. Actual living codes, tools that change how you interact with this so-called world. Let's start with the first one. Key 1. Time is consciousness generated. Time isn't ticking by. You're moving through it. You shift timelines not by waiting, but by where you place your awareness. Your consciousness is the selector, the tuner. You decide, moment by moment, what future you're aligning with. Want a different outcome? Don't wait. Shift how you see the now. Here's what to do. Start practicing absolute presence. No phone, no thought spirals, just full attention on this exact moment. Breathe, slow and conscious. When your breath slows, time follows. Speak everything in present tense. It's already mine. I already am. Collapse the delay. Stop saying one day. Act like it's here. Now, time is elastic. It's responsive. It bends to your perception. You change how you relate to time, and it changes how it relates to you. Try this. Close your eyes. Visualize 2 versions of yourself. One walking the path you're on now, the other already living the life you want. Feel into that version, how they think, what they say no to, what they trust. Then ask, what's the one choice they'd make today that you've been avoiding? Now make it. Merge the timelines. Align your present with their frequency. That's how you jump. Key 2. Energy follows attention. Where your attention goes, your life follows. You focus on fear, you grow it. You focus on expansion, you unlock it. Attention isn't passive. It's not just noticing, it's building. Your attention is a wand, a weapon, a prayer. Use it like it matters, because it does. Start auditing where your focus goes, not in theory, in real time. What are you feeding? What are you watering? When your attention drifts to fear or chaos, pull it back, not with force, but with intention. Visualize what you want until it's more real than what you see. Starve your distractions, feed your vision. Every scroll, every thought, every conversation, it's all a vote. You are literally casting spells with your attention. Want to build something real? Start a daily focus ritual. Light a candle. Sit in the sun. For 3 minutes, hold one clear intention. Breathe it in. Exhale the noise. Let that focus build over time. Don't force it. Just return to it, day after day. Eventually, your outer world starts bending to your inner one. Key 3. The universe exists within you. Not as a metaphor, literally. Every spiritual law, every cosmic principle, every star system, it's all mapped inside you. You are the microcosm of the macro. And when you stop looking outside yourself for answers, you start finding access to everything. Meditation isn't about escaping. It's about listening. Go inward, not to get quiet, but to remember. Study the old systems, not to be spiritual, but because they're maps. Chakras, the tree of life, sacred geometry. These aren't beliefs, they're blueprints. Track your emotions. They're not random. They're messages. The inner universe speaks through feeling first, logic second. Not the events, but the reflections, the triggers, the lessons. You'll see the pattern, the design, the mirror. You're not a tiny speck floating in space. You are space. You are the code folded in on itself. And every time you go inward, you're stepping into the architect's room. Key 4. Reality's rules are negotiable. You've been trained to think things like gravity, money, identity, pain are fixed. They're not. They're agreements. And agreements can be rewritten. This entire structure we call reality only holds as long as we keep nodding along to it. The second you stop agreeing, you start seeing through it. You didn't come here to obey this matrix. You came here to rewire it. So the next time someone tells you, that's just how it is, understand, what they're really saying is, I'm still asleep. Start challenging every limiting thought. I can't do that. Says who? Where did that story come from? Who handed you that belief? Break your own rules. Daily. Do one thing that shatters your comfort zone, even in a small way. Let the nervous system learn that change doesn't mean death. Reframe your problems. Stop seeing obstacles. Start seeing codes. Each challenge is a puzzle, a prompt, a chance to upgrade. And get around people who live differently. Not just talk differently, live differently. Their lives will stretch your perception. Their proof becomes your permission. This isn't about spiritual theory. It's about remembering your power. The matrix is persuasive, but it's not permanent. Once you stop agreeing with it, it can't hold you anymore. But you've just found the master keys. And once you've used them, you don't live inside the matrix. You start to recode it. This isn't just information. It's initiation. Because once you've seen it, really seen it, you can't unsee it. The pattern of 4 isn't just out there in the stars or scriptures, it's pulsing inside you. And now you know why things haven't been working. You were trying to manifest with one part of yourself, while the other 3 were disconnected, asleep, or in survival mode. But here's the truth that changes everything. When you align the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, you don't ask reality to change, you don't wait for signs or miracles. You become the frequency where miracles are normal. You are no longer fractured. You are no longer hoping. You are generating. This is coherence. And coherence bends time. It shifts energy. It commands the field. It magnetizes outcomes. Because the universe doesn't respond to begging. It responds to alignment. They'll tell you to stay in line, to follow steps, to work harder, pray louder, think more positively. But when you embody the code of 4, you don't need to chase. You move with the rhythm of creation itself. Because the secret isn't in what you do. It's in what you are aligned with. You are not a prisoner of this reality. You are its unmaker, its rewriter, its conscious architect. So here's your final choice. Will you keep living in fragments, or will you activate the full pattern? Because once you do, time bends to clarity, energy obeys structure, and reality follows you. This isn't just a video. This is your activation. If this shifted something in you, lock it in. Comment, frequency first. Like the video, subscribe. Then subscribe to the free newsletter for deeper codes and watch the new channel. It goes even further. This isn't content, it's your signal. Frequency first. Welcome to the code. Now, live it.